Hello, hello, hello. This is Attorney Mike Revin coming to you from Chicago as usual. And we've got the Screaming Karen. It was only a couple nights ago. We had the Screaming Karen trial. They didn't finish the trial because Screaming Karen, well, the prosecutor rested their case. Screaming Karen hasn't gone yet. But tonight she does. She testifies. She testifies in her own defense after getting kicked out of the municipal building. Oh, get ready for the drama, people. It's beautiful. This is all Alyssa's fault. I put a link to the prior video. What's that called? Karen gets kicked out of a government building. I put a link to the prior video in the description below. Let's get this thing started, shall we?
And before you sit, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
No, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth as I know it.
Well, that is nothing but the truth, as you know it.
There might be another truth that's above me. Might be your truth is that I'm a bad person.
So you're going to testify from your knowledge?
Yes.
And perspective. So,
yes.
Okay.
We've covered this before. Anybody who uses the term "my truth" non-ironically is a lying a-hole. Let's carry on, shall we? Welcome, big people. Come on in, the water's warm. We haven't really gotten started yet.
But nobody on the campus knew.
All right, we're on the record in the Siegel matter. Lynn Siegel versus the City of Boulder Facilities. This is day 2 of the hearing. This is a suspension hearing from Siegel. The city attorney's office presented their case on Monday, the 2nd of February, and we are starting today, as far as the hearing goes, with Ms. Siegel's case. Before we get to that, however, there are some motions in the file that we need to address. And so, Ms. Siegel,
Lynn.
Sorry, Lynn, I forgot. You're probably going to have to remind me.
Okay. I don't like telling the judge what to do, but
and then
about it.
And then for the record, Ms. Siegel prefers to be called by her given name of Lynn. So that's how she will be referred to today. All right, so we do have some motions in the file by you, Lynn, and specifically a motion regarding witnesses and a motion to continue, which is entangled because of the witnesses that you would like to call. Now, the first thing I would like to point out is when we left this on Monday afternoon, we went through who the potential witnesses were in your case for you. And at the time, you told me, represented to the court, that you would be your only witness. So, and then I looked at the list of folks that you sent. I also looked at the city attorney's response, and I've seen the email thread between you.
Chris.
So first I want to get to that. I do very much appreciate the city attorney's arguments. Having said that, I also counted 8 people that you wanted to call, the 8th person being Greg Ogden. So let's sort of run through those ahead of time. I'm not inclined to let you call anyone else because you would have been required to disclose them according to the quasi-judicial rules. And then on Monday, we had that discussion. Ms. Huff said that she didn't mind as long as for this one witness, as long as she had the information. So you were at one point talking about a witness who appeared in the background of one of the videos.
Right, my friend.
So don't, just because we have a recording going, don't, when I'm talking, wait till I get done and then you talk, okay? And then suddenly a bunch of other witnesses came up. But, you know, again, the issues that we have to decide today are, or as part of this hearing, I shouldn't say decide today, but did you violate a rule? And if so, is the length of the suspension appropriate? So all the evidence should go to those 2 questions. And starting with Mr. Ogden, I don't see how his testimony would go to either of those questions in any regard.
Can I say something?
You can say something.
I didn't ask him to be a witness.
Okay, so there is an email in there where you said you forgot Greg Ogden. So I'm understanding that.
That was a misinterpretation of that sentence.
Okay, so you are not asking Mr. Ogden
No, of course.
to be a witness.
He's the report.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah.
Then there were 3 people, all unidentified, from a committee that you're on. Let me pull that up. But you represented to the court on Monday that you essentially, except with respect to the person who appeared in the background on one of the videos,
Right.
there were no other witnesses to what occurred.
Right.
So I don't see how these 3 people on this committee could provide any relevant testimony.
Are you?
If you can articulate a basis.
It just occurred to me that there were witnesses, the police, and I don't know who they are.
We're not talking about the police yet.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the 3 people on.
2.
I'm sorry, I got that wrong. 2 people on.
Community connectors engagement.
And for those 2 people who are unidentified, for one, which is a problem, but they also were not there.
Didn't you see them on the tapes? It's really, I'm not.
The only person you had pointed out was this gentleman in the background.
Right. I don't know if they were on the tape, but they were there helping me. And they were helping me when, from the transcript, it sounded like I was just going ballistic, and it was perfectly calm the second time when I came back. And I realized I didn't find out about the financial strategies meeting. That's why I came back.
Okay.
And I dealt with that. And then I sat down waiting for Nuria and working on my computer. And right behind me in that room was this community connectors engagement. Engagement makes you think, yeah, they're engaging the public. So I went in to see what that was about, and no one was in the room except these 2 guys that were manning that.
But you don't know who those people are, do you?
I didn't ask their names.
Okay, so you don't.
I just inquired with them as to if with my situation, this, or how could I'm very civically involved, and I want to know how are they engaging the community and what do they do?
Well, that doesn't have any.
But I didn't ask them what.
Right.
I didn't have any reason to ask their names. I didn't know I was going to be.
I hear what you're saying. Let me talk now, because we have a very short period of time to finish this hearing. I hear what you're saying, but you also, you can't subpoena and call people who you don't have names of, and you certainly can't disclose that information to Ms. Huff. Aside from that, on Monday, you did not mention those people. And so for that reason, I'm not going to allow you to call those people as witnesses.
Take it back or something? I don't.
No.
I mean, I thought these things and I presented them. Did I do something wrong?
No, I'm just not allowing them to be witnesses in the case.
Then fine.
Okay.
I mean,
So that takes,
I don't agree with that, but you're the judge.
okay. So that takes care of Mr. Ogden, who you
Didn't ever
want to testify, and the
I like him
two
fine.
community engagement people.
And it was for police.
I'm sorry.
And the 4 police.
Well, we're getting to that. So then there are the 4 police officers who you also did not identify on Monday as being potential witnesses. Further,
How could I even find out who they were? I don't.
well, you didn't even identify them as possibilities. Sorry, Lynn, let me stop. So we had a thorough discussion on Monday about who the potential witnesses would be in your case. And the only other person you mentioned beside yourself was the gentleman who appeared in the background of the police videos. So in other words, you did not even mention the police on Monday. That's what I mean.
I have a low IQ. I guess I didn't think of that then. I'm just a bad person.
That does not make you a bad person. But
You probably can't hear me, but yes, it does. You are. I agree with you. You are a low IQ bad person. I think that is a good assessment.
what it does is it complicates matters because you didn't identify those people as people you wanted to call.
I didn't intend to make your life miserable.
You're not making my life miserable.
I didn't intend to complicate.
And I'm not saying that you intended
Not
to
that it
complicate
matters.
matters. But in terms of the 4 police folks,
Yeah.
so we have you on video. We have videos that have been admitted into evidence. They are part of this case.
Yeah.
And
Maybe those are good on their own.
let me finish. So they show the police interaction with you.
And I feel like maybe your perception is different, but I feel like that's beneficial to me. But I didn't know if it occurred to me that if all of this is complicated, people there, people here, cross-examination, all of that, maybe something more could come up from them and their interpretation and their perception.
But you don't have anything in particular. You don't have anything in particular you wanted the police officers to present outside of what's in the videos.
I guess I wanted to know.
Remember when you said you were low IQ? That's showing right now. So maybe you should defer to the people who have a higher IQ so we can get through the damn hearing.
What I was just minding my business on my phone and my computer, and they're asking me questions, and I don't know why they were even there.
No, you weren't. Well, maybe in that moment, but prior to that, you were like leaning over and you kept hitting the bell and annoying the hell out of everybody. And you know it.
Or who called them. And I thought maybe the community, it's like all this mystery. Did the community engagement people call them?
And I know that you want to know the answers to those questions that for your own curiosity. But the answer to that question does not go to the 2 things that we need to decide. Who called the police? It doesn't matter who called the police. So the 2 questions for this hearing are, did you violate a rule? And if so, was the length of the suspension appropriate? So who called the police just doesn't go to either of those 2 things.
Well, then we're done.
Okay. So I will.
Nothing.
Well, and further,
I wasted your time.
You didn't waste my time. You have a right to ask these questions. We're just going through the answers to those questions, going through the analysis of whether or not.
I know she's not sincere about it, but when she thinks she's being like cute and ironic, she's dead on. You are wasting everyone's time. You have a low IQ, and you're a bad person. All three. That's the trifecta.
It would be appropriate for you to call those folks. But what you've just
I don't
said.
know how to do, I don't know how to do this. This is like a different planet. I just know that everybody says everything and everything's out front, and then you can like figure it
And
out.
that is not how a court hearing works.
Yeah, and so I'm saying I'm just not fit for this. You can just prosecute me, I guess.
I'm not the prosecutor. There is no prosecutor here. In fact, to the extent there is a prosecutor, because you filed the appeal, you're the prosecutor in a way. I know that sounds weird, but that is how it works. All right. So with respect to the 4 police officers, you know, as well, and this is true for all of the folks we have talked about today, there is no relevant testimony that they can present. So with respect to the 4 police officers calling, I'm denying.
I'm
not finished. I'm denying Lynn's motion to call those folks as well. And that in and of itself takes care of the second motion, which was a motion to continue based on you being able to have time to talk to these witnesses. So that motion is denied as well. So we'll proceed with the remainder of the hearing today.
And I don't understand this. I don't understand why.
Because
that would have no bearing on the matter that you have to decide on.
Because none of them can offer relevant testimony. That's one reason. The second reason, or you don't have relevant testimony. You're not saying that they would offer relevant testimony. You want to call them to do, essentially, to inquire of them and do a fishing expedition in a way to see what it is they.
You also didn't disclose them because in the last hearing at the end, it was agreed that only she would testify because we had this very conversation. And that's why you have such conversations. And if you're not disclosing any witnesses, then the other side doesn't have any opportunity to know prepare for that, know what the hell you're doing. I mean, there are many reasons, but that's the easiest one. That's what I would say.
No, but that's not how a hearing works.
There is no evidence.
Let me finish.
On either side.
So aside from that, with respect to the 2 community engagement folks, is they're not identified. You haven't subpoenaed them. You don't even know who they are. And because of that, you have not disclosed who they are and what their contact.
Did I disrupt them?
Let me finish. So you haven't disclosed who they are and what their contact information is, as you would be required to do to Ms. Huff. So
also, by your own admission, you're a low IQ bad person who's wasting our time.
For that reason, they're denied.
Is it even relevant because there was no complaint from them? Was there? Or did they call the police? I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It wasn't my business. I didn't want to say, what are you going to the desk for?
Lynn, it doesn't matter who called the police. So
how doesn't that matter?
It doesn't matter. Who
Why
called?
didn't someone just say, Lynn, you have to go or we're going to call the police?
And there was testimony from let me finish. There was testimony from Mr. Meschek that you were warned. Now you can.
It's not testimony.
It was
There's
testimony. Testimony is evidence. So what we are here left to do today.
Then I'm done.
Is you get to present your case. So you get to testify now and tell us what occurred from your perspective.
So do you want me to start now?
Nope, because I got to swear you in. And then I'm also, because you are the witness, I'm going to have you come and sit up here at the witness stand. And before you sit, I'm going to have you raise your right hand.
Oh, I clipped this for the beginning, but for those of you who aren't here, watch this. This will tell you everything you need to know about what's coming up.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
No, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth as I know it.
Well, that is nothing but the truth, as you know.
There might be another truth that's above me. Might be your truth is that I'm a bad person.
So you're
Yeah, that's my truth. And it's your truth too. You're the one who admitted it. So cram it, Karen. Nobody cares. I mean, it's funny. But nobody cares.
We're going to testify from your knowledge
Yes,
and perspective. So,
Yes.
okay.
I don't want to misrepresent.
I appreciate that. All right. So, again, the city attorney rested their case, not yesterday, Monday, and it is now your turn to tell the court your side of the story. So what I want you to do is, and again, we're going to stick to those two questions. So it's what occurred on that day in the Penfield Tate Building. Anything that occurred outside those two time frames in the Penfield Tate Building and outside the Penfield Tate Building at any time is not relevant. Okay? So I need you to stick to the periods of time on that day that you were in the Penfield Tate Building. And then to the extent you have any testimony to offer with respect to the length of the suspension, you can certainly offer that. So just go ahead and
Yeah, I just
your
went
narrative.
to the Tate Building to talk to Nuria on day 462 of this retrofit resolution that I was promised.
Okay,
And it's
and
not
I'm going to
been
stop
addressed.
you there. I understand there's something that went on with this retrofit, but that's outside of what occurred. All we need to know is that you went to the Tate Building to talk to Nuria. Okay? Doesn't matter why, just that it matters that you were there.
This has been a living hell for me.
I understand that, but that's not an issue today. I'm not diminishing that at all. It's just not what I have to decide.
Your entire life has been a living hell for you. Honestly, I feel sorry for you with that mentality. I don't know if this is a lifetime of functioning this low or if she's losing it later in life. If that's the case, I feel bad for her. But I mean, with this attitude and demeanor, these are the outcomes you will get 100% of the time. No exceptions.
You ever go to your insurance company, to your
Lynn,
healthcare
Lynn,
provider, and
Lynn, Lynn.
you know,
You need to stop. So you can tell us what went on in the building the two times you were there that day. So go ahead.
I went to ask to see Nuria.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
If I knew I couldn't ask questions, I wouldn't have gone there. I'm a resident, a taxpayer.
Okay, I
I
don't.
thought I had a right to ask questions.
And just as I told you the other day, I'm not looking at you, but I am listening, and I'm not looking at you because I'm typing. So it's not that I'm not listening. I want to make sure to reiterate that.
Yeah. Well, if there's no reasoning behind this, just that I went there, and it's just that closed, then what's the point of this whole, all these people wasted time and energy and expense?
And
There was I didn't get in anyone's face like they said I did.
I'm going to ask you to stop really quick just so I can catch up with you.
Yeah.
What the hell is
Okay,
she
go ahead.
doing?
Ask questions.
Is this 1943? Is she typing what she's saying? That's really odd. That's not what a judge should be doing. That makes no sense. You would either have a reporter do it or record it or literally in this day and age, just have a recording and an instant transcript being made. That's very odd.
I'm a curious person. I guess I could say my curiosity is deserved after 462 days, but you say that's irrelevant. So it's just like I walked in to ask, what's that dog doing out in the front of the, like, it doesn't really matter. I just went in there to ask questions.
Okay.
And I really take it very personally. But I was basically attacked for asking those questions by the test.
You should take it personally. That was the idea. When you went up there and irritated the shit out of them by ringing the bell 30 times in a row, asking the same question, they wanted you to personally know to get out. They were way too nice about it. My God.
Testimony that Christmas check derived from these two new staffers. Because the other people there know me. I'm down there all the time. I had no idea this was going to happen. All it does is it teaches me, don't go down to the Hague building after March 22nd or anything. And it's not a matter of how long. I should never have been suspended the first time I was suspended, and then now 60 days instead of 30 days. The first time I was suspended.
And the first time you were suspended is not an issue here, unless it somehow goes to the length of distance.
Yeah, it's the length.
But whether or not that suspension is valid, I mean, the fact of the matter is it occurred. And one thing that I can consider is you being suspended before.
What it does is it tells me, don't go. The city council meeting. You aren't welcome there. You aren't a real citizen here. You don't have rights, basic rights, just like Alex Cutchin, just like that. And that is so wrong. And if that's what this court does, then go ahead and do it. I mean, what can I say? It's the big is. That's just the way it is.
Well, I've heard enough. All right, stay out of the municipal building for 60 days. Bye-bye.
That's, the way life is. It is. What do you say?
So you've talked generally about what occurred. You said, I didn't get in anyone's face. I asked questions. I think it would be more helpful to me in deciding the case if you just tell me literally step by step what occurred when you went to the building that day. So let's start with the first time you walked in the building that day. And
okay, now she doesn't mean to. She's trying to be nice, of course, but she's representing her now. This woman is not making any case whatsoever, but it's not the judge's place to explain to her how to make an effing case. This is what they do with pro ses, but it's frustrating as hell, especially with one that's this obnoxious.
Sort of a play-by-play, if you will.
Is Nuria in?
Okay.
What happened next?
Excuse me, not appropriate.
This isn't a trial. I thought this was a trial. What is this? It's a hearing on a motion? What the hell what's the procedural posture that I missed? I thought this was the trial on the issue. Or is it an appeal? It doesn't matter. It's a hearing.
Go ahead.
I don't remember if they said she's not in or she was in or what, but I come down there all the time. And sometimes I see her just coming down the stairs, and we have a very collegial relationship. And I remind her about my retrofit and when, and so I just asked if she was in, and oftentimes she's out or she's at home. And I have a lot of other people. I'm very civically engaged in this community, and there's a lot of people that I see there and that I engage with. And so I just stayed there after that. But first of all, I just asked if she's there, and she said, no, she's not there. And then I said, and they said, you can try to call her on the phone, and they were telling me what to do, and I know what to do. So I find that very.
Judge, they actually saying you can ring my bell to me. And that's what encouraged me.
Insulting. And they know this because they see me there all the time. And this day was somehow different. I had no anticipation this was going to result in some kind of suspension.
Okay, so
there were no threats, from them, like you're bad, like.
Let me stop.
Frustration.
Understood. Let me stop you.
And
so
frustration
let me stop you. Let me stop you. So you went down there, you asked if Nuria was in, they told you you could call, you found that insulting, but you stayed there because you see her all the time. Those are the notes that I have. What happened next?
Well, I asked again because I don't know. Maybe she wasn't free then. Maybe she comes free. You can't estimate exactly how long each meeting you're going to have with someone is. And maybe there's a space in between. And she knows me very well. So maybe she'll come down and say hi, which she has before.
Okay.
And I felt like they were resistant to me asking.
And they being
the front desk staff, and two of which were new people and don't know me.
Okay. Go ahead. What's after that?
I sat down. On my phone, I had a water leak, like an undetectable water leak in my house, which was very disturbing with the city. And so I was talking to someone about that. Very costly.
And when you were sitting in the lobby, you were talking to someone about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joanna Bloom from RAB. She.
Okay. What happened after that?
Then I'm working on my computer. And the police come, and they're very nice, and they were very kind. And they asked me questions, and then when I tried to answer the questions, they said, well, we don't, and it kind of disturbs me because I trust that they asked the questions in good faith to discover what was going on. And instead, when I get to the interesting part, they say, well, we were not really here for that. We're here to get you out.
Okay, and
that was the first time.
Let me stop you there. I want to make sure I understand. So they were asking you questions, and
yeah, what's my name? What's my address? And what's the problem? And I was talking to them about the retrofit, and then they're suddenly disinterested, and I felt deceived. So I said, I can't get out of here fast enough. You want me out of here? I thought that you were being friendly with me. So in me, I thought they wanted to know the story. They were asking, why are you down here? And it wasn't just to see Nuria, it was to resolve my cold situation. And that's very sensitive to people who live in a warm space. And
she just needs an Italian sausage and a corn dog, and that would fix her right up.
Don't. So it feels like a projection on other people. Oh, you should be as cold as I am. And it's not. It's just that I am cold because it matters. The use of energy matters enough to me. And that's my right to be cold.
And I hear you, but we're getting off track. I understand that is the subject about which you were frustrated and clearly still are. I absolutely understand that.
And people These are other people. These are police. They are people too. And I would imagine, I'm an empath, and I would imagine if I heard that from them, I would take it in myself.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Did she just say she's an empath? I gotta do it now. I gotta do it.
Your Honor, I am a neurodivergent person with complex PTSD.
And maybe transfer it to someone else. I mean, when I left and screamed, I heard them say on the tape, she's letting it out. Because they can see the burden of that, and all humans feel that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you again. I understand that you're frustrated. I absolutely get that. So we've left it with the police were talking to you, asking you questions. You started to tell them what was going on. They seemed disinterested.
I thought they wanted to know.
So let me finish what I have. They seemed disinterested and said, no, we're not here to talk about that.
No, they were interested at first.
Okay, I'll put that in there.
That's what I didn't.
But ultimately, they said, we're here to get you to leave, and then you left.
It wasn't particularly like that. It was on the tape. It's all.
And I'll go back and watch the tape.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's in evidence. I'll go back and watch it. So you left, and
shortly after that, that's that part on the tape, because there were 2 times. So it might get confusing to you, but that was the time that I just said, I can't get out of here fast enough.
right, and I remember that from
Okay.
So I want to clarify some things. I know you might think it's odd that I'm asking you questions, but the quasi-judicial rules allow me to do that, and it's helping to keep us focused. You have testified today that you asked where Nuria was twice. Is that your testimony?
More than that, probably.
How many times did you ask?
I have no idea.
Can you give me an estimate?
No. I just sat down, and then after, I just would come back and ask.
And how long were you in the building the first time?
About 8 minutes.
Okay. All right. So have we talked about everything you want to talk about with respect to that first time you were in the building?
Now, I came there also to find that I was so distracted by their escalation of my frustration.
Who's there? Who's they?
Front desk. And that probably more than anything, there's 2 unfamiliar people that didn't.
Their escalation of my frustration. Oh, shit. Give it a rest, would you?
Know anything about it. And they were learning, so there's transmission going on between the staffers that I knew and them, and that's a complexity, dynamic that I wasn't prepared for either. And I was flustered, and I forgot the other thing I needed to do, which was find out about the financial strategies meeting at 1 to 2:30 that day.
Oops. Okay, go ahead.
So that was it. I just wanted to talk to Nuria, like usual, wait around, see if she comes free, until there was something else that I had to do. Instead, the police intervened. I wasn't really warned of that, unless I think I don't know how I was not told, you have to leave the building or we're going. I was not told. These are my friends. Selena is my friend.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
Selena is a front desk person.
Okay.
And Gianna. I consider them my friends. And I think they do too. They understand the frustration, but they have a job. And their boss is debatably doing hers. And that must make a person feel some level of anxiety.
Okay. All right. Anything else about the first time you were there?
Well,
that day.
I think also,
Okay.
usually this is what I say, because this happens all the time. I'm sorry, but that we're in this situation where we disagree. I know it's not your fault. I know.
And you said that to the front desk people?
I probably did, because I always am saying it. It's the system that's set up to make people antagonistic.
Okay. So you
And it's
probably said that to them. What
Yes.
else? What else happened that you want to tell me about?
And that's concerning to me because I follow the money with these civic affairs that I do. And this is a lot of money.
Okay. We're getting off topic again. What else occurred that you want to tell me about the first time you were in the building that day?
That's it. I just went in to get
Okay.
Nuria, to talk to Nuria.
So if that's everything for the first time you were in the building that day, let's start now with the second time you were in the building that day.
I'd gone over to Jonathan, knock on his window like usual.
And Jonathan works at the front desk?
No, he works in, do you know that, what is that called? The building to the north of the Duchambe.
Okay, so not in the Penfield Tate building. You're just in between.
Climate
In between, you went somewhere and then you came back.
Climate initiatives.
Okay, so let's start with when you came back in Penfield.
And I went to knock on his thing about the retrofit. I know you don't care about the retrofit, but to knock.
It's not that I don't care. It's just not at issue here today.
Then I remembered. I texted him that I was there. Sometimes he comes out, rarely, but then he knows that I'm there at least, which I can't do with Nuria, incidentally, because I don't have her text.
Okay,
I can call her the many times that I've called her. I've never been returned a call.
and I hear you.
On the times I've met with her, she's always been
And
there.
I hear you, but I'm going to stop you because we're talking about what occurred that day.
Well, what?
So you came back, you remembered
Right, but
about the meeting, and you
yeah.
came back to Penfield Tate.
But
What happened?
But the frustration and the escalation came from what I was just saying.
Okay,
That what was I just saying? I got off track.
you went to talk to Jonathan. So I've got to note that your level of frustration and is higher because of de-escalation. So do I have that right?
I just lost my train of thought. I'm not very smart and I can't focus a whole lot when someone interrupts. And I know you're just doing your job.
I am just doing.
I'm not trying. It's the same thing. What I would have said to them is, I know you're just doing your job. And that's the important thing. This is a horrific situation that the system is set up the way it is.
And I hear you. So, but let's start with when you came back to Penfield Tate after you left the first time. So the second time you went to Penfield
They were
Tate.
perfectly fine. It was like nothing ever happened.
Okay, so you go back in the building and what do?
And I said I needed to find out about financial strategies meeting. Why was it, another problem. The city doesn't have enough money. They don't hire enough people. They don't, that things don't get done. And they had erased this meeting rather than canceled it. And that caused me distress because I thought, I'm screwing up on my calendar. And it wasn't me, it was them. And that was very gratifying to hear. And Megs did that. And Meg's one of the higher level people that works on these things. And she took that on and she did a great job. And I said, call me for recommendations.
Okay, so you went back in.
She alleviated, she said, they screwed up. She admitted they never, there's
And
no
this occurred while you were in Penfield Tate the second time?
Yes.
Okay, so you had this conversation with
before
Meg.
1 o'clock because I needed to find out before 1 o'clock because that's when the meeting had been and then was gone. And I guess it was regularly at that time. And so that's why it had been on there, but someone screwed up and erased it rather than canceled it. And that's fine. It's just like the city never admits a fault. Never.
Okay, so you talked to Meg. She confirmed for you that someone had screwed up and
Yeah.
erased the meeting instead of canceling.
And I was so ecstatic and I was so happy. I wanted to sit down, work on my computer and see if Mary showed up.
Okay,
And make my phone call about the water leak, which cost me $167 for the plumber, and Cultivated helped me, but they didn't find it. It was an undetectable leak. My
Okay,
water went
so we're
storm.
getting off track again.
Yeah, but I was just doing my work. And at least I'm a little bit warm because at home, I'm not.
Okay, so you're in the lobby, doing work. What happens next? And you're waiting for Nuria, you testified to.
Oh, then I noticed that the community connectors engagement thing is inviting the community in there kind of. And I've been in that room a lot and there's a lot of things that go, I'm involved in so many things you don't want to know, all the things. But for me, it's curiosity. What did the community connector engagement people do? And they wanted to know what my issue was. And we pretty much figured out that they couldn't really help with that. But it was entertaining to find out.
Okay,
And one of them, I wasn't really in that N101 with them. They came into the lobby and were talking to me there. But there was no surveillance camera because it's down. And then I call about that and they say, we can't answer any questions about that. From my memory, it's the police that have kind of a domain to have the camera there. And the city's not responsible for it somehow through IT or what have you. It's like a different domain.
okay. So
But they didn't even direct me to the police.
both Chris Meschek and you have testified that the camera wasn't working. So I have that information.
And that is very problematic for me because I think there was a lot of hyperbole here. Like I said, this happens all the time.
There's a lot of hyperbole here. It was spilling all over the place. There was so much hyperbole.
And no one puts me on suspension. And it's gotten increasingly
No one puts baby in a corner.
frustrating with 462 days
And I hear that.
over time.
So the people in the lobby, or sorry, the community connector engagement people.
And especially also
Let
in
me
the winter
Let
when
me
it's very
finish. Let me
cold.
finish.
Yeah.
So community connector people came into the lobby to talk to you.
One of them.
One of them.
And
Okay.
then he was asking.
And
me
what
about-
happened next?
He was asking me about the situation and I was explaining it to him. And then the other one came in, was maybe bored and no one was there. it was completely quiet. Nothing was happening in the lobby or in N101 or in the West Wing or anything. It was pretty quiet and no big deal. And then my friend came in. Well, then the police showed up. And I didn't notice them because I was busy on this perplexing water, insidious, undetectable water leak that had me so panicked that I went down to the crawl space to see if somehow it was filling up and it was going to float my house away. So that was distracting and disturbing to me, something that I was dealing with on the phone. And then the police, it's like, well, they're there for something, but I didn't really know.
Okay.
And I just didn't pay attention to them because I was paying attention to this
So all this is because you have some moisture in the basement?
insidious water leak.
Insidious
Okay.
water.
It puts them in a difficult situation because I guess they came in there for me, but I wouldn't have suspected them to be coming there for me. I mean, there are lots of homeless people around there. There are lots of occasions for the city front desk to interact with the police, I suppose.
Okay. So they show up. What happens after they show up?
So they asked me questions, what's this about? But there was not even raised voices. There was just Megs helping me with the thing. So I couldn't understand why did they come that second time. The only thing I could logically figure afterwards is that those guys from the community connections engagement were so kind of touched or
This woman is the judge's future. She's headed on the same exact path. Let's be honest.
felt empathy for my cold situation, that they were trying to help out and went to the front desk to tell them to call the police to get assistance for me. Because at some point,
Okay,
the police
so-
asked, do you want us to help?
Okay. Get back to what the
Okay.
police asked you. Great.
Yeah.
And the police
they
asked you, do you
me
want us to
to-
help you?
Yeah. Do you want us to set you up with some kind of whatever, people to counsel you and stuff? And I don't do that kind of stuff. So not that I didn't appreciate them offering it, but I've been there, I've done that. I'm 72. Life's short.
And then after they asked you, did you want help with counseling? What happened?
Oh,
after
right.
that?
Yeah. Like counseling. And then I said no.
Okay. And after that?
Then they went into this thing of we want to
And they, when you say they, you mean the police?
the police. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the first time the police came or the second time the police came, but they were asking me questions about my situation. And I'm glad to talk to them about it. But at some point, right when the important, interesting part was, they just kind of dropped it and said, well, we can't, they've got something else to do, or they're just coming to get me out of there. It seemed there was an element of that.
Okay.
But they didn't directly say, well, you have to leave now and stuff. I think it's how could they have done that? Because I wasn't going berserk. Nothing was happening. I was just trying to talk to Joanne on the phone. I was just trying to do my work on my computer.
And
I
who's
my own
Joanne?
business. There was not a big conflagration or anything.
Who is Joanne?
Joanne Bloom with the city. She's in water.
Okay, that was about your water problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I just want to make sure I understand what's happening.
And I know her very well because I follow 5 city boards, and Water Resources Advisory Board is one of them. And I needed to testify on Monday at RAV
Okay. So,
and needed to find out what the dynamics were that I needed for my testimony on Monday.
okay. So you are in the lobby, the police come, they ask you about counseling, they ask about your situation. And then when it got interesting, they said they couldn't help you with that, and they didn't directly tell you to leave, but it seemed that way.
No, what they did, it was on the tape.
Okay, and I will watch the tape.
It's like, we want to work with you. And it's like,
Okay.
then kind of leave me alone. Like, I'm just, I don't want to be distracting you from what you need to do, but I need to do stuff myself. And then they kind of were very, I'm not a tactful person. I have zero tact.
Okay.
They were being very, very tactful.
We know.
Like, do you think we can work with you somehow to get you out of here? Kind of, I don't know how, like, it was on the body cams.
And I will go back and watch that so I know exactly what they said.
And like, I know how I was really going to react is like, there's no working. It's kind of like there's no working around this. Like, do you want less time, for that? The other part of this issue is less time. No, it shouldn't have been at all. I'm not a compromiser. And I felt like I was being like eased into somehow somehow like working with them somehow, and like, what do I have a basis to be working with them about? They didn't have any accusations. Very kind of confusing, strange thing. And I felt kind of coerced somehow. That and they were very, very tactful about this.
Okay, so they're having this.
To their credit, I suppose, because, I'm sure they get a lot of de-escalation training. I'm very opposed to Steve Redfern. I'm very upset about Elijah McClain.
You're getting off track.
Yeah, I have.
So the police are having this conversation with you. They want to, in their words, work with you essentially to get you out of the building. What happens next?
Well, they said the building's closing at 4 and there's 10 minutes. And so I said, so I just started working on my computer. And they said, well, we want to like get your stuff together or something. It's like, I'm a big girl. I'm 72. I can get my stuff and get out of here in time. I don't need to be monitored to leave at a particular time. If you want to hang out, fine. I think they were in a tenuous position where they were like supposed to be removing me from the building, but they didn't quite know how to do that because there wasn't anything to remove me for.
So let's get back to what occurred. So we want you to get your stuff out of here. And then how do you
get your things
get
together.
your things together? Sorry.
Like, I know how long it takes me to get my things together.
So
get out of there.
What was your response?
And
to that?
I leave at 4:00 all the time when I go down there.
And I hear you, but this particular day, we want you to get your things together. What is your response to that?
There's plenty of time. I've got 10 minutes.
And then what happens next?
I think they were just a little anxious because they didn't want to really hang around, but I was somehow keeping them there. But they hadn't told me I had to leave, per se. It was just a weird, awkward kind of a thing.
Okay.
Because earlier,
So did you stay till 4?
Everything in your life is awkward. Everything, every waking moment for you is awkward.
Yeah.
And they just stayed with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any further
They held the
conversation?
door open because my bike.
Okay. So was there any further conversation with the police?
It's all on body cam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's like, I don't know what their MO is. It sounded like they wanted me to leave, but they didn't want to tell me I had to leave because there wasn't any.
Nailed it. Oh my God, she is an empath. She figured it out. Yes, they wanted you to leave. And they were too nice about it. So stipulated.
Anything to tell me I had to leave for.
And I hear what you're saying, but so you stayed there.
It's an event.
Okay. You stayed there till 4. Nothing else of note occurred, it sounds like, until you left the building.
I got my computer. I got my stuff in my bag. It's kind of a bunch of stuff I have to do and nothing.
Okay.
No, no altercations, no controversial discussions, nothing.
Okay. And then you left.
Yeah. And then I waited outside a while to see if Maria would come out. This is the end of the day. And maybe she would. Maybe I could have some little precious remembering of how much I like her and how much I don't want her to be hurt. But I do have my own interests that need to be addressed.
And I understand that. So once you leave the building, the question is the behavior in the building. So once you leave the building, then none of what happens after that is.
Well, it mattered to me because I wanted to see Nuria.
And I hear you, but for this hearing, it's not relevant to this hearing.
Okay, then
Okay.
strike that from the record. I
Okay.
guess.
All right. So a couple of questions that I have with respect to this.
My bad. Why don't you go ahead and strike everything I've said so far?
The second time you came in, you didn't mention asking about Nuria. Did you ask about Nuria the second time you were in the building?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to tell me about what happened in the building that day, the 2 times you were in the building that day, that you can think of?
All I can think is this is just like utterly ridiculous. Like, this is hyperbole. This is transference of energy. This is like so wasteful. This is like so.
And I hear that. Anything relevant to the 2 questions that are at issue?
Judge, knock it off with that. I hear that. This is like transference of energy. Shut up. Say something relevant, or you're done testifying. Next.
Today that you'd like to tell me.
Which is that code 20.
Did you break a rule? And if so, is the length of the suspension appropriate?
I did not break any rules. I did not hurt anyone. I did not distract anyone. If they wanted to do their business, they could do their business. I just wanted my questions answered. And I dinged the bell, and then they answer my question. Nuria's not here. Done. I mean, it was disturbing to me when I called and she said, "You're calling me." And when she's standing right there,
Who's she?
Selena.
Okay, so the front desk, one of the front
Yeah,
desk.
and it's like she told me to call or to email. And then when I call, she says, "You're talking to me." And it's not a direct line to Nuria. It's just to the front desk. So I wanted to leave a message, but I couldn't because she was not answering the phone. She was answering the phone and telling me not to call her when she just told me to call her. So it's like, what do you want me to do? And I know Selena.
We want you to leave. We want you to leave and never come back.
I like her, and I could see her frustration, and I get it. Nuria's like screwing up probably, and she feels the tension of potentially losing her job if Nuria loses her job. I don't know what dynamics happen with people in working situations.
Okay, we're getting off track again a little
Yeah.
bit. Anything else you want to tell me about what occurred in the building that day on either of the occasions that you were in the building? Or have we covered everything that happened from your perspective?
I think we've covered everything. There's nothing, I mean,
Girl, they're not that into you.
Okay. And
I do think
go ahead.
that surveillance camera
And I understand that.
is critical. And it worked for me before
And I understand that.
when I had, you knew I had stuff stolen.
Okay, but we've already gone over that. So anything new you want to tell me?
Nope.
Okay. All right, your witness, Ms. Hull.
Thank you. So Lynn, I'm gonna just ask you a few questions. Okay. So you just testified that you go to the Penfield Tate building pretty frequently, right? Is that a yes? Sorry for the recording. Just make sure you answer yes or no. And
Yes.
you-
All right, thank you.
Thanks. You went to the Penfield Tate building in Boulder, Colorado on January 21st, 2026, right?
Right.
And you wanted to meet with the city manager that day, right?
Right. And I have 2 times before, at least 2 times.
Okay.
I
And
met with her personally.
for the record, the city manager that you keep referring to as Nuria.
Nuria.
And you spoke with the staff at the front desk of the Penfield Tate building about meeting with the city manager that day.
Yeah.
And you told them that you wanted to meet with Nuria, the city manager, multiple times throughout the day, right?
Right. I mean, also it was, I wanted a time set up when we could meet, if not immediately. But the idea is, like, she knows that I'm there because all these other things aren't working, right? So,
And just to clarify, all these other things you're doing, you mean all your other attempts to try and meet with her previously?
right,
Okay.
are not fruitful.
Okay, so you went to,
And so this thing's accelerated enough that she's avoiding it because she doesn't know what to do.
I'm going to stop you there, okay? So just make sure you're answering my questions. So you're pretty frustrated that you haven't been able to meet with Nuria prior to your arrival on January 21st, 2026, right?
Well, able to set up, able to have some future hope. And I don't like that word, it's too religious for me. I like agency. Some range of time, which has already been 462 days today.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went there with the hope of either meeting with the city manager that day or at least getting an appointment in place.
At least something, something. Certainly not having the police call.
Okay. So
After-
in addition to
Adding
going-
insult to
in addition to going to the building and making those in-person requests, you also made phone calls to the front desk for the same purpose, right?
No, I made phone calls to Nuria,
Okay.
but it goes through the front desk. I do not have a direct line to Nuria. It is the line that I had that Selena gave me for Nuria, but it's not to Nuria. It's to the front reception people.
So you
And then I
ended
leave
up-
a message, but I couldn't leave a message because she was holding the phone and said, "You're calling me."
Okay.
I'm not calling you, I'm calling Nuria.
So just to
Get off the
clarify,
phone and let it answer.
let me
Let
clarify.
me,
Okay.
talking to the answering machine.
All right, everybody's talking over each other. So this is Ms. Huff's time to ask you questions. So you're expounding on a lot of what you're saying. So just limit your answer to the question that she asked you. Okay. And then, as we did previously, with respect to anything that you wanted to follow up on, you will get the opportunity to do that based on the questions that she
Thanks for
asked you.
relieving some of my anxiety.
Okay.
And I don't mean to make you anxious. I'm just trying to clarify. So you also made phone calls while you were at the Penfield Tape Building, right?
Yeah.
To either reach Nuria or set up an appointment with her, right?
No, I was calling Joanna Bloom.
And you called Joanna Bloom.
I called Nuria once, but Selena blamed me for calling her when she told me to call her. I just didn't understand what she wanted.
So the staff told you the phone number that you needed to call to set up an appointment with Nuria.
No, I have that from a long time ago.
Okay. When you were asking to meet with Nuria that day or to set up an appointment, the staff told you how to do that, right?
I already knew that.
And
They
on
told
that
me
day, they told
again.
you the same thing,
Yeah,
multiple times that day.
not really multiple times, except maybe they did. Like, it kind of felt like sticking it to me because they knew I knew that, like the staffers that I know there.
Okay.
So it's kind of like when you get insulted when someone tells you something that you already know over and over again, and that to that extent they do. As a reaction, I think, to being helpless to help me. I get it.
And the staff, they told you to stop asking them the same questions, right?
I don't know.
And that's okay. That's all right.
So that's what surveillance cameras are for.
And you were warned that the police would be called, right? Or you were told the police would be called.
I think what I recall is that call the police, please, because they'll see there's nothing to come for,
And then,
which is like a weird thing, but I was just being honest. There wasn't anything, like, why don't you just like tell me I have to leave?
and to that point,
And they didn't.
the
They
police,
said that they're involving the police somehow. And I wanted the police because they could see there's nothing happening here.
when the police arrived the first time, they did ask you to leave and then you left, right?
But at 12 o'clock,
Around noon that first time.
that's on body cam.
You remember that.
No, first of all, they were talking to me about the retrofit thing. And then they changed the subject and it's like, we don't really want to hear about this. Like, we're just here to get you to leave. And then I didn't know that. Hey, I'm gone.
And then as you were leaving, kind of screamed out your frustration
No, outside of the building.
as you were leaving the building.
At the top of my lungs 2 times.
I don't think I have any other questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Lynn, based on her questions that she just asked you, you have to limit it to what she just asked you. Did you have anything that you wanted to follow up on, or did you get to answer her questions as you wanted to?
I don't know. The police said, I guess she's letting it out, letting it out like anyone would, in that situation. And I thought that was interesting. A nice reflection for them. Because there was nothing they could do and there's nothing I could do. And if I can get some gratification by screaming, and I've used that lately. At the county commissioners.
Okay, we're getting off topic. So,
Names, as
Lynn.
at the top of my lungs,
Lynn,
right in there.
Lynn, we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
So, you screamed 2 times outside the building, which you were asked about, and then you wanted to add that the police had made a comment that you were getting your frustration out. With respect to any of the other questions she asked you, did you have anything else you wanted to follow up on?
I don't know what her line of interest is. I don't know. I guess not.
Okay. All right. So, did you have any redirect based on that? Okay. So, Lynn, you may step down and go back to your table. You had your opportunity to testify. I appreciate that. And thank you for working with me to stay on topic. That helps a lot. Okay. So now's the time in the case. Ms. Huff, do you mind?
This time I am going to object just because the chatter is a bit distracting.
Okay.
I don't want to bring it closer.
And so we're going to have you sit in the gallery. Sir, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But
James.
Okay. So now's the time in the case, and you have no other witnesses to call. So you are resting your case, Lynn, right?
Right, but there's also the matter of the length. Did I cover that already?
You told me that when you were testifying, you told me that you were suspended the first time and you didn't agree with the fact that you got suspended the first time. Did you have any other information to add with respect to the length of the suspension being appropriate?
The reasoning,
And I'm going to have, if you're going to testify some more, I'm going to have you come up here.
the reasoning,
I'm going to have you stop and come up here because you're still under oath. Don't run, don't hurt yourself.
the reasoning being that there is no compromising. She never should have had any suspension in the first place.
You're talking about the first time?
Oh, absolutely. I screamed quiet.
And Your Honor, I'm going to object since this could arguably be relevant, but I think it's confusing the issues.
I think what I would say is,
Well,
I'm talking. So what I would say is with respect, I understand that you don't agree with the first suspension or the reasoning for it.
but
that said,
are based on
Understood.
previous suspensions and lengths of them, and
Understood.
We've gone through all this with Laura.
Understood.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that suspension occurred and you were suspended. So whether or not you agree with the prior one, we're not getting into the facts of that today.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So anything else related to the length of the suspension? Other than you don't feel like, without getting into details, but you don't feel like that one should have occurred.
And therefore, I think this one is an inappropriate time. I believe I should not have one moment, one breath of suspension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I guess not.
All right. So you can go back to your table now. And there are no other witnesses to call in your case. Go ahead. There are no other witnesses to call in your case. So that means your witnesses having been concluded, that means you rest your case. So now we're at the time in the proceeding for closing arguments. And I had told you about closing arguments on Monday when we started the hearing. So what closing arguments are, when you did opening arguments, it was talking about what facts you thought would come in evidence. Closing arguments are just that. They're arguments. Why should I rule in your favor? So Ms. Huff's going to get an opportunity, and then you're going to get an opportunity. And then because Ms. Huff has the burden of proof, then she will get another opportunity based on what you said.
She gets the last word.
She gets the last word because she has the burden of proof. But she can't start over from the beginning. Her second time, she can only talk about responses to things you've said. Okay? So she's going to go first, and I am going to limit, we are very close. I'm going to limit each side to 5 minutes total. So go ahead, Ms. Hutt.
Thank you. Under Boulder Revised Code 5518, the city manager has authority to suspend a person's privilege to enter, use, or remain on the premises of a city-owned building if that person violates a rule and their conduct constitutes a hazard to the health, safety, or welfare of others. Here, the evidence reflects that Lynn's behavior throughout the day on January 21st, 2026 violated the rules governing conduct of patrons at the Penfield Tate Building. Specifically, Lynn's behavior violated Rule 20, which prohibits an individual from obstructing, impairing, or hindering the performance of a government function by a public servant. Lynn made repeated demands to meet with the city manager that day, and staff responded and assisted Lynn repeatedly to the best of their ability. Lynn made repeated phone calls to meet with the city manager that day, and again, staff responded and assisted her to the best of their ability. As the day went on and these repeated requests were made to the dissatisfaction of Lynn, she became increasingly frustrated as she testified today. And as Mr. Mestrick testified, staff reported directly to him that she was yelling and screaming inside and outside of the building. She began repeatedly ringing the bell at the front desk for assistance. And this continued to the point where staff not only warned Lynn that they would call the police, but then they actually did call the police. And then later that same day, after Lynn was escorted out of the building with the police, she returned and engaged in the same behavior. It's clear by Lynn's testimony and testimony by Mr. Mestrick that she has concerns that she would like to address with the city manager. But as Lynn testified to, she became frustrated and the interactions were escalated. And that concern and frustration got the best of her at the expense of the city staff trying to help her. As Mr. Mestrick's testimony revealed, Lynn's repeated actions took staff away from their other duties and responsibilities. At times, Lynn's behavior made staff fearful as her frustration escalated, her voice rose, and as Mr. Mestrick testified, Lynn got into the personal space of those staff members trying to help her. Lynn's violation of Rule 20 posed a hazard to the staff's welfare in violation of BRC 5518 by repeatedly yelling at the employees, repeatedly demanding to meet with the city manager, getting in the face of the staff, and stealing their focus away from other individuals and responsibilities that they have. Lynn's conduct escalated and continued so much so that the staff had to call police on 2 separate occasions in one day, which Mr. Mestrick testified as not occurring very often at all, that they have to call the police. Lynn's conduct made staff fearful and prevented them from completing the work they're responsible for. As a result of these actions throughout the day, Lynn was lawfully suspended from the Penfield Tate Building for 60 days. The suspension is reasonably related to the severity of the incidents throughout the day on January 21st. Lynn's prohibited conduct lasted for hours that day, and despite staff's efforts to assist her, their requests for her to lower her voice, warnings to her that police would be involved if she continued, Lynn chose not to cooperate with or listen to the staff. And instead, she continued to yell and keep the staff from doing their work. This is also not Lynn's first time engaging in conduct that's prohibited in city buildings. As Mr. Mestrick's testimony revealed, Lynn has been suspended for her conduct in the past. This not only reflects Lynn's knowledge of the rules governing her behavior, but also the consequences that follow if she refuses to comply.
Okay, and I've got about 30 more seconds for you.
Given her history engaging in prohibited behavior, her familiarity with the rules, and her behavior on the date in question, the suspension was lawful and the length of time is reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoff. All right, so Lynn, it's your turn. You have 5 minutes.
Can I see the testimony you just read?
Here we go.
That wasn't testimony, that was her argument.
Right, the argument. Because there were many, many, many things that were not correct.
And you just give me your argument as to why I should rule in your favor. So you can address some of the things she said, but
Well, you've been misled.
Okay, go ahead. That's argument. Go right ahead. I'm starting your timer
I
now.
can see what I'm specifically addressing as to what she just doesn't understand because she wasn't there. There's no, first of all, there's no surveillance camera. This is all allegation. This is all hyperbole.
We have a video of it, you cranky old hag. We all saw it.
2 staffers that are new, that are being trained, that cause this dynamic that just blows it up more. And person being able to have the right to speak out on their own behalf is threatened from what you said. I don't say this to make you feel bad. I say it because there's some things that you don't understand that were not correct.
Why do we have the eye contact? I would not look at her. I would refuse. I would not look at her. I would look straight ahead. There's no way I would engage that level of crazy. Absolutely not. Unacceptable. Whoever that girl is, she did a good job. I don't know what her role is, but you are not required to look at this kook. Please stop.
And that's because of hyperbole between different people and this conflagration that we've got a problem with that's much bigger than what's going on in this room right now. With ICE, with Gaza.
I'll object. Facts not in evidence.
Yeah, so I understand that you're frustrated about those things.
Related.
They are not.
They absolutely.
We understand that you're stupid in all areas of life, and it isn't limited just to this municipal building, but can we keep it on that topic for right now?
Are.
You may think that, but they are not.
I know that they
It
are.
goes to your level of frustration, but they are not related to the 2 questions I need to answer. So.
There was no safety threat except to me. My safety was threatened by them. That's the way it went.
Who is them?
It's always the front desk people, the reception. Their hyper paranoia transferred to me. A peaceful person, a kind person, trying to get warm. Trying to get what?
They have hyperparanoia cooties, and I caught them. It's their fault.
I had been given and promised.
Because you've got about 2.5 minutes left. If you have
They
any,
didn't call the police twice.
I'll object to misstatement of the evidence.
I heard the.
I don't.
The judge was slow in giving her the time because she wanted to run out the clock. And I don't blame her. It was a pro move. Well done, Judge.
No. What? Why? Why would they call the police the second time? What happened? I got the financial strategies meeting correct, and I sat down and minded my own business. Why were the police called? What did I do? There's nothing I could do right. Nothing! And that's why I screamed. Nothing! There's no thing I can do right. Things are only going to get worse. And many, many others are going to be very upset. And it's all going to come back on all of us. And I'm just trying to stop that from happening. Because
And Lynn, you're
we're all
getting
gonna go
off
down.
track. You're getting off track.
It's absolutely not off track. We're all going to go down if this kind of frustration and this kind of injustice goes on. And it's partially what she is understanding. She doesn't understand. Some things are directly wrong.
So you've
that
got
she said,
about-
and I didn't know I had to write them all down. I was writing as fast as I could.
You've got about a minute
This
and a
was
half left.
completely-
If you want to spend it this way, you can.
This was completely an event. I went in to see Nuria. And my lesson is, you try to see Nuria, you're going to be the one that's wrong. So why should I go? Why should I try?
Anything else?
Can people go to their city and use their taxpayer dollars
He's got more.
or not? You decide.
Okay, does that conclude your statement?
I rest my case. I have a right to use my city building, and I didn't threaten, I didn't hurt anyone. That is their imagination running overtime. And I can't be responsible for their psychological state. That's their problem. They need to deal with their own psychology, their own psychopathic things. I wanted to see Nuria. Came in. It was an event. The second time that it happened, I have no idea why the police were called. Probably just because of hyperbole of fear, safety.
Okay,
What to?
so
You can.
you're out of time.
This is how it happens.
You're out of time. So that's going to conclude your statement. Ms. Huff, did you have any follow-up based on what?
Let's give that a round of applause. That was craptacular. That was craptacular. As far as I could gather, it's all hyperbole.
Lynn, what Lynn's argument was. Okay. All right. That concludes the hearing then. I will take this under advisement. I will attempt to have out a ruling as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everyone's cooperation today, staying on topic. I very much appreciate that. Because of that, we were able to get good testimony out. So, as I said, I'm required to have it out within 10 days. Under the rules, I will endeavor heavily not to take that long. So, as soon as I can have a ruling out, I'll have one out. And I know you're anxious, Lynn. So, okay.
I could get that ruling out in, 2 seconds. Just whatever I can do, in whatever way she can lose, she's lost. I guess this is an appeal of a suspension, so the suspension is upheld. That's the definition of a loss for her, and that's what needs to happen.
Anything?
Can I appeal the appeal?
You can appeal any final decisions of this court to the district court. So, and when
She wants to see the manager again. She doesn't even know she's lost yet. I mean, she has, but I always love that when they ask if they can appeal. It's like, you don't know what the outcome is here.
come out with my ruling, that would be a final decision that you could then appeal if you chose to.
And then what about after the district court?
That is, you can,
Can I go to the state court? To
The district court
Supreme
is state court.
To the state Supreme Court?
And I'm not going to answer that question simply because I am required to advise you about any opinions of this court and your right to appeal. Beyond that, I would be giving you legal advice, which I am not allowed to do. So if you wanted to appeal it past the district court, you would need to speak with an attorney.
What's the district?
That's the appellate court for this court. It's state court. Okay? And their clerk's office is right down the hall. It's in the same building, but they're completely separate from us. Anything else?
This never should have happened.
Understood you feel that way.
It's
This never should have happened.
just very, very disheartening. That's what it is. And I know there's nothing you can do about it. It's your job. And I know it's your job and your job.
Okay, well, that concludes the hearing. Again, I'll take it under advisement, have a ruling out as soon as possible. Thank you all for appearing today.
Judge, well done. Well done.
Well done.
Judge, can I ask you a question?
Does it relate to this case or just generally?
It relates to the court. So like what quasi-judicial hearings, there is an appeal process? Oh, I wasn't informed of that when I had my case. How do I get information to appeal my case?
It should have been in the order.
We were told that there was no appeal process. That's why I'm confused.
It is my understanding there is. I will look into that.
Okay,
But the final decisions of this court are purportedly appealable to a higher court, and that would be a final decision. So,
okay.
but I will check for you.
Thank you.
Maybe different judges deal with different things differently.
No, it would be the same regardless of who the judge is. But I mean, I could be wrong. So
And you will gather that information right now or
I have no way of gathering that information right now. So
how can we gather the information as taxpayer constituents?
I will, as
Don't worry, low IQ Lynn. You wouldn't understand anyway.
I am doing this ruling, I will look into it.
Thank you.
So you'll follow up with her?
I don't know who she is, so I will. Greg, is it all right if I let you know?
Let me know, and then, and what was your name?
Laura Gonzalez.
Okay. And then I can research the cases that we're talking about, and I can send you an email.
Okay, and if I am wrong, I apologize. But like I said, I'm new here, so.
I'm new here. Oh my God, this is pathetic all around. I can't even take anymore. There you go. I'm sorry. There was no ruling. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. She took it under advisement after 2 days of hearing. The city made their case, and then she made her case today, and she has to take this under advisement. She needs to review the video. You got to be shitting me. Oh, I put a link in the description if you want to see the first one. The first one is, oh my God, you have to see the scream. The scream is good. That's contained in the first one when she rage quits the when she rage quits the municipal building. But this was even better. All the hyperbole talk really got me. It really did. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you all for coming out. Behave yourselves. Behave yourselves. I am not bailing you out. I'll see.